Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, sorry that took a couple of seconds. So I had minimized the Zoom screen, and the thing with Zoom is if you minimize it, it just vanishes, and you really have no idea where to find it. You have to so you have like a floating head and a floating little menu, but in the menu, there's nothing that says click here to reopen screen. It's just like click here to, I don't even know what it said. Honestly, I was just pressing buttons. But here I am. Cool. So welcome. Excuse me. So super cool. We have a couple of cool updates today. Hey, good morning, Renee. What are my updates? Oh, okay. So we actually completed, or I completed the content for the bot on the membership site that I actually kind of want to walk through a little bit because it is really impressive. And those that were did not attend yesterday or those that did not watch the video yesterday, it is impressive. Hey, good morning, Brian. It is impressive enough that, hey, Frida, I'm sorry, I actually decided to eat breakfast today. I usually have my sandwich and I don't get to it till 2 o'clock, but today I was starving. But yeah, so if for whoever didn't attend yesterday or were unable to watch it or simply just want another walkthrough, it is actually really that cool. And today at 2 o'clock, I'm having that meeting with our team where we're going to spend 2 hours actually putting all the initial steps in place to build it out. Now, what I said to the team was, correct me if I'm wrong, but I really feel all the work is done, right? So, in creating a bot of this nature, the work is building it, right? Like you have to have the technology, you have to go ahead and get the, what's it called? What's it called? Emulators. You have to have everything in place. And then also with the content, you have to have it in place so the bot knows if this question is asked and this answer is the one that is given. And it will then self-learn that, okay, I gave this answer to this question and the person were able to respond. Therefore, I know this is a good one. Or I gave this answer to this question and the person then said yes. Therefore, this is the correct way of doing it. So all of the learning is self-learning. And I believe that's all going forward. So in terms of getting the bot out there and allowing it to be tested, I think we're in position that is achievable before the end of this week. And my team agrees. But again, I got to tell you, with everything we've done, whether it be the automations or yeah, the search, I mean, we've all been together for quite some time. Unfortunately, tech is always, I've always thought, it's an easy solution, and then something very difficult happens. So, you know, with bated breath, with fingers crossed, but I'm having that call today at 2 o'clock, and I've never been so excited to have a call with our team. So that's pretty cool. The whisper feature for the search, we're going to revisit that tomorrow. I believe it'll be done by Friday, but I'll have more updates on that tomorrow. The email we sent out this morning, we really did like our Rhino AI email. It went from 160 RHINOHUB members to 207 to 220. So we're just going to send that last one today. So for those that say, hey, Ant, I've gotten the same email 3 days in a row, well, thank you for your patience. For those that are just getting the email for the first time today, please join. And, that's pretty cool. So hopefully by tomorrow, we'll be around 230, 240, in which case we would have added, what does that come out to? 80 new RHINOHUB members. And again, the value of that is, of course, RHINOHUB is free, but the bot is going to have access to each individual account. Each individual account now has payment methods set up, not set up, but verified, because we need to verify that the person's a real person, meaning when the bot is ever in a position to make a recommendation and the person says yes, the bot has the information to go ahead and facilitate the transaction without anyone having to do anything. That's the value. So it's not so much, hey, we really want to test if you're a real person, which of course we do, right? Like that's not the case. But maybe even the bigger value or the coincidental value or the accidental value, but certainly a really good one, is that the bot will be able to facilitate transaction for you by you just saying yes, which is, my background is in sales. And I got to tell you, whenever you did sales, getting a yes although difficult, was never the most difficult part. Like when I was in the stock market and I'd have someone on the phone and they agreed to open up a new account and they're going to buy $100,000 of, I don't know, Google stock or whatever. I would then go buy $100,000 worth of Google stock. Well, guess what happens? If that individual doesn't then send the $100,000 and the stock goes down, guess who's paying for that? Me. So the point is, sure, you could get a yes, but a yes is not the most difficult part. It's always then the facilitation of it. Like, how many times have you decided to buy something and then, during the form, you're like, actually, I don't even want to do this. And that's what the abandoned cart is. And in fact, anyone that's ever done internet marketing has quite the abandoned cart that they regularly try to get to. Okay, these people were signing up, something stopped them, so it behooved me to reach back out to them. What the bot allows is that we'll never have an abandoned cart ever again. Which, imagine if every abandoned cart was an automatic transaction, you'd be very happy. Hence, I think RHINO will be really happy. So that is that. What else do I have? Still talking to Salesforce, still building the influence. So actually what I was doing yesterday after I completed what I'm about to show you, we started working on the note cards, the finalized ones. And V's really progressing very far in what she's doing. Plus, I went through all the note cards that we had made and started copying and pasting the ones that were valuable. I'm combining that with our test prep with the actual questions that V goes ahead and puts through. And then we're going to filter that down to the 300 most valuable ones. Or maybe 400, maybe 500. Maybe 500. Well, the point being, if we're making the case that you don't even have to go through the Salesforce curriculum, you just have to go through the flashcards, well, it might behoove us to have as many flashcards as possible. And honestly, I don't know if you've ever went through 500 flashcards. This is how you do it. Now, I know that was a bit facetious, and you're like, Ant, okay, we're not children. But if you notice, I went through 3 flashcards in, what was that, 8, 9 seconds? Let's say 10 seconds. So if you have 500 flashcards, if 3 take 10 seconds, well, how many times does 3 go into 500? 100, 160, 168, right? I think so. It's like 168.666. Now you times that by 10 seconds, you get what, 1600 seconds. Let's say 1700 seconds. Well, how many minutes is 1700 seconds? Well, 60 seconds is 1 minute. So it's about 300 minutes, a little bit less, comes out to 5 hours. I really hope some of that math was correct. I think it was. But let's say it takes you 10 seconds to go through 3 flashcards. 500 flashcards should take you 5 hours. Which, by the way, I feel like that was probably easier math because 5 hours, 500, whatever. Anyway, it's too, yeah. Anyway, let's say that it takes you 5 hours. Well, if it takes you 5 hours a day and you go ahead and do it for a week straight, well, at the end of the week, you probably know every single flashcard. You probably see it in your sleep, your nightmares, your dreams, whatever. So is it safe to say that if you go ahead and invest a couple hours a day to going through flashcards in 1 week, you could go ahead and pass this exam? Well, I think yes. And that's the goal that we're trying to do. And that is what we're going to be able to do because we have everything to do it, and we're currently doing it. Now, the difficult part of that is, okay, Ant, you can engineer someone to pass, but if they don't know how to actually do the thing, well, they're not going to be a very good employee or team member or whatever. And that's when we say, well, that comes on RHINO, right? So if we're going to do the work to put you in a position to pass a test, and the reason being, we want you to pass as quickly as possible so that, it doesn't take up much of your time to participate in what we're offering. Well, then it's also on RHINO to make sure that we put you in a position to succeed. Okay, great, you passed the test, but you really don't know much. Let's go ahead and give you this level of work because this is the easy work, and we'll go ahead and have you a partner assigned to you, and you grow through experience, which I always think is the best way to do things anyway. You learn much better hands-on. How are we going to find this partner? Well, when we start, when people start passing the test and we really launch this program, there will be a couple of people that they'll just be, you could always see an all-star. You know who the all-stars are. And then we'll just make them an all-star deal, and that will be that. So we're working on that today. I think that's kind of it. I'm also thinking the emails, I'm going to start moving towards RhinoBox a little bit. Um, I think there is a possibility sometimes that you get too cute for your own self. And what I mean by that is, so we've allowed ourselves to take time away from RhinoBox to go ahead and build Hub and the Spot and like a lot of things that obviously have taken time and all really, really good going forward. And at the same time, we've allowed our emails to go ahead and build RhinoHub and stuff like that, because the belief is, well, once you're in there, plus all the things that we're doing now, at a later date, we'll be able to go ahead and really see those conversions and it'll be meaningful. But in the meantime, what it means is that we've allowed RhinoBucks to just gradually become less exciting. And we've allowed the price as a result to become less exciting, because if the members are less excited and the weeklies are less excited, well, then that translates to price. And I think sometimes you could be overly optimistic, like you could really have a vision of what's coming down the pipe that you grace yourself with. All right, well, I don't need to be pushing now. Like down the road, everyone's going to be a part of it. So, I'll get to it when I get to it. And the problem with that behavior is it actually affects the day to day, which you don't know how that will affect the future, right? So I think we're kind of running a little bit of a risk of that. So I think I want the emails to kind of get back to RhinoBucks. And the cool thing is, when the emails get back to RhinoBucks, not only is it going to be able to invite new people to it, but in that email will inherently be all the updates for the current holders to read, right? So if I said to you tomorrow, right, okay, this email is going to be about RhinoBucks, is the email going to be, hey, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and you don't know this, but I know this, and you got to do this right now. Well, then the people that are already in it are like, yeah, but like we do know this. So this email is like, what, you sent it to me by accident, or you didn't really care enough about me because I'm already a member. And the people that are new, they're like, this guy's excited. Like, I don't, he's crazy. But if instead we were said something to the effect of, and those in RhinoBucks, we have these exciting updates. This is what we're expecting going forward. And those that are not in it, we really think you should for these reasons. Then we'd be able to walk the line of sharing the pertinent day-to-day updates with those that care, because obviously everyone's invested. And at the same time, sharing, or at least creating awareness of an asset that is that has these updates going forward. Therefore, oh man, I could get in it now before those updates, and these are the expectations. Let me do it, and then have a kind of a strong call to action at the bottom. Now, of course, this email really has to walk a line and will be quite comprehensive and involved, because you got to kind of like an accordion, right? Like you have to get all of this stuff in it and then squeeze it in like a 2 or 3 paragraph. If you remember Robin Williams from Aladdin, an awesome cosmic power in itty bitty living space. I loved Aladdin. So that's just that little something about Anthony. So I think that's what we're going to start doing again tomorrow, because I do want to get some excitement in RhinoBucks. I just believe it deserves it. It should have it again. It's so funny because sometimes you could look at something as such a long-term view, or you could look at it as such like, okay, yeah, well, duh, that's one of our fixtures. Like that's good. That it's almost like when you have a kid that's getting straight A's and you stop paying attention to them. They're like, wait a second, why am I such a victim of my own success? And maybe now that I have kids, or maybe that I was that straight A kid, it just hits home a little bit. So that is on my mind for today. All right. So anyway, without further ado, let's spend a couple of minutes going through this. So this will be the bot. Let me move some stuff around. Hide floating meeting controls. Hide floating head. Okay, cool. So what you're looking at now, so there's many reasons somebody would say no to getting into cryptocurrency. And actually, so I could show you some of them. So let me move this over 4.0. So the ones that we identified as the ones that are, most pressing: lack of understanding. These are all the subtitles. Hold on, let me find it. Okay, volatility. What are these subtitles? I mean, the things I do are so like complicated that I even have a hard time showing it. Hold on, volatility. All right, seriously, let's go. How much? All right, maybe I do a little too much. So I numbered everything. So volatility. Actually, I think I know where it is. Hold on. I know this is confusing. Stay with me. Okay, let me get back up here. Okay, volatility. Now let's find number 3. Where are you? 3. I know there's a plenty of 3s, but the one I'm looking for is on the left-hand side. Limited use cases. So apparently we skipped 3. We passed it somewhere. Lack of trust in decentralized systems. Accessibility, and I think there's a 10 somewhere. And fear of scams and frauds. Okay, so there was other reasons as well. Obviously, I missed them, but that took so long that I'm willing to settle for showing 4 or 5 of them. All right, so the one we're on right now is lack of understanding. Now, of course, when someone goes ahead and says no to it, hey, do you want to get into RHINOBucks? It's this, 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 and someone says no. There might be, so maybe there's a follow-up question. Well, why, do you have a reason for saying no? Or maybe the person will say something in the answer that will allow us to know it's no. Or maybe we could go ahead and prime them and prep them to answer a question a certain way to know it's no. The point being, what you're looking at right now is we know that it's because of a lack of understanding that this person doesn't want to get involved. And we know that because they would have said a number of different things. So let's say the initial contact is, so let's look at initial contact. Let's pick something. Number 17, want to learn crypto, where to begin? So initial contact is what they would be saying to us. So they come up to the bot, we ask them, we might have something floating about RHINOBucks or whatever. And they go, hey, listen, I want to learn more about crypto. Where do I begin? In which case, for number 17, we'd have an answer ready. To start learning crypto, invest $1 in RHINOBucks. It's a beginner-friendly, low-risk introduction to the world of crypto investing. So we want to go ahead and if they have an interest, to go ahead and facilitate at the moment. Now, that's just how the game begins. They actually reached out to us about crypto, which isn't something that is done often. But for instance, you can go ahead and persuade, or at least you could kind of activate what somebody would say by showing them things around the room. So say, for instance, you walked into a room of just martini glasses. It might stand fair to reason that the first thing you're going to say is, why are there so many martini glasses? Right? Now, you didn't think you'd ever say that, but the situation, the context allowed you to say it. Hence, these initial interactions are not going to be too difficult because we could go ahead and build it up where they think to say this question. Now, once we find out that they're not interested, so they would say no to something here, or again, they came in a different way, and we know that it's lack of understanding. So that is the reason, but there's 6 sub-personality types. Do they have a lack of understanding because they have a low openness, or they have a high need for cognitive closure, or they're risk averse, or they have a low self-efficacy, or they have a high need for control, or they have a preference for tradition? So let's say they have a low openness, right? So in low openness, there's 5 sub-personalities. Are they resistant to change? Do they have limited interest? Are they a conventional way of thinking? Do they have simplistic language usage? Or are they disinterested in creative pursuits? So let's say they're sub-personality 3. They're conventional thinking. So this individual tends to rely on traditional beliefs, values, and ways of thinking, often dismisses unconventional ideas or perspectives as unimportant or irrelevant. Okay, great. So when we went ahead and offered RHINOBucks to this individual, they said something to the effect of, let's go to number 8. To be honest, I don't see the value in cryptocurrencies. I'd rather stick with what I know and understand. Now, again, they don't have to say that exact sentence. It doesn't have to be that long. But if they say enough of these keywords, we're going to know that this is who they are. In which case, our initial rebuttal, let's see if we have on 8. It's normal to be hesitant about something unfamiliar, but many successful investors have found value in cryptocurrencies like RHINOBucks. Our platform offers a unique financial design aimed at consistent growth and potential exponential gains. By giving RHINOBucks a chance, you might discover untapped potential in this emerging market. Well, that seems like a pretty good answer to that person, but maybe they're like, you know what, I'm still not interested, right? So now we have a secondary rebuttal. Let's go to number 8, was it? Right, is that the one we were on? So I don't, okay. Yeah, so we were on number 8. I'd like to remind you of the famous saying, fortune favors the bold. By embracing new investment opportunities like RHINO Bucks, you could be positioning yourself for significant financial success and potential outperforming those who remain tied to conventional methods, right? So we were able to use the word conventional and then repurpose it from something where this individual was saying to us that they want to stick to conventional stuff to us saying, well, the conventional stuff is kind of, what you don't want to do right now. Now, of course, we're not going to have a bazillion rebuttals to someone. We don't want to make anyone feel ever uncomfortable for being there, but to have 2 rebuttals is something that we like. So, okay, so we know this person is a conventional thinker. Well, let's say maybe they're risk adverse, right? So this person, they don't have an understanding of cryptocurrencies because they're naturally risk adverse. They don't think it's a good idea. They think it's too risky, hence they don't have the understanding. Now, what's the sub-personalities? They avoid uncertain situations. They have a concern for security and stability, their reluctance to try new experiences, their preference for predictable outcomes, or they're a careful decision maker. So let's say they're a careful decision maker, right? So this is why they're risk averse, and this is why they have a lack of understanding. So let's say this individual says, let's go to 4, which, by the way, there's 10. I guess I have to click in here or pull it all the way down. Or if I don't know where the rest are, but there's 10 over there. So let's go to number 3. Let's say, I've heard a lot of mixed things about cryptocurrencies, and I just don't know enough to feel confident investing in them. Okay. So why is this? Am I losing my mind? Or do I just not know how to do this? Okay, hold on. So which one did we do? I've heard a lot of, okay, so we were on number 3. So apparently we have to make extra rows so that this could be seen. No problem. Okay, you're right. There is a lot of information out there about cryptocurrencies and it can be overwhelming. That's why we've made it our mission to provide accurate, trustworthy, and easy to understand information to help you make informed decisions. We're confident that once you learn about RHINO Bucks, that our unique approach, you'll feel more comfortable with the idea of investing in cryptocurrencies. That perfectly addresses the person's concern. So maybe they say, nah, you know what, I still don't want to. Well, the secondary rebuttal is always a little more aggressive than the first one, but again, we stop at 2. So this is kind of like our last shot, right? So what's number 3 say? It's true that there are mixed opinions about cryptocurrencies, but that's precisely why RHINO Bucks was created. We designed our program to address common concerns and provide a safer, more sustainable way to invest in this growing market. Our team is here to answer any questions that you may have to ensure you feel confident in your investment. Now, I'm going to take the share screen off, but I want you to see that based on one reason that somebody would decline to invest, we then break it up into 6 personality types, followed by 5 sub-personality types, and then each one has 10 examples of a sentence of decline from that person versus that sub-personality type, and then 10 initial rebuttals plus 10 secondary rebuttals that address that exact person with that exact need. And each one of these is then going to end with a suggestion, right? Like, blah, 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 blah. Why don't you get in for $1? Just say yes, right? So the point of all this, take this, times it by 10, because we're going to have the 10 reasons that we do it, which means this is probably going to take 2 more weeks of me doing like 6 hours a day. But let me just get off this, right? So when you go ahead and get to that point where you have all of that in this bot that now has the ability to self-learn and teach itself, okay, this answer was the best for this type of person, or this got me a quickest yes. Again, we're not being dishonest and we're not trying to trick anyone. But the question remains, and a lot of people have said this to me, hey, Ant, how are you ever going to go ahead and grow RHINO, right? How are you going to grow RHINO Bucks? You can't be on the phone with every single person. Yeah, people like you and you're convincing and you're persuasive and people, trust you, but you can't be on the phone a bazillion times. You can't be on the phone with everyone. It's unscalable. Well, I agree with you. So what I've decided to do was put the investment in to create a bot that is a duplicate, is a replication of me. So everything I just showed just kind of gets a little bit of an insight. So whenever I'm speaking to someone, my brain naturally thinks like that. So if this person says this, then this, then this, then this, and again, it's not being dishonest. It's speaking to the person the way they want to be spoken to. I'm not going to speak to a girl named Susie and pretend her name is Tiffany. If her name is Susie, I'm going to address her as Susie, meaning I change my words to her by calling her the name she wants. So if someone tells me, hey, I don't want to do this because of ABC, well, then I'm not going to sit there and give them reasons X, Y, Z. ABC, okay, ABC, ABC. And that's what the bot's going to do. So I just want to share with you that once we go ahead and get that done, and then we move everyone into RHINOHUB, and we have a constant stream of hundreds to thousands joining every single day into RHINOHUB, and then every single one of those people is then approached by that bot who knows who they are specifically because they have their own specific login. As you can see, things could get very exciting very quickly, and that's always been the goal. Hence, why I'm out here every day, right? Well, I don't know if that makes sense. I'm out here every day because I love you, but I hope some of this makes sense, right? Let me see if there's anything. William, Anthony, where do you find the recordings of your morning videos now? Oh, so William, they're always on the YouTube. Which, by the way, I really would like everyone to join the YouTube because once we get to 1,000, then all of a sudden we start getting partnership offers from YouTube, like to monetize it. I never really pushed it though. So if anyone could do that, that'd be great. But William, they are on the YouTube. I know I used to have them in the emails, so maybe I'll start doing that again. No, the email tomorrow will look different. I guess that's all I have for now. But oh, duh, William's probably like, hey, Ant, why don't you give me the link? Well, you know what, William? I hear you in the back of my head saying that because that's what I would say, because that's what a normal person would say. So let me give you the link. So I'm giving the link to the YouTube. Anyone that doesn't have this, just go to it and join, please. And then you get the updates every day. And with that, yeah, thank you. I'm going to start one Rhino return. Yes, all right, Justin, welcome to the party. All right. And I got to tell you, the reason why Justin hasn't joined is because he's too busy making all this amazing food. Anyone that doesn't follow him on Facebook, you will see him like chef du jour every single day. Every day I'm like, oh, like. I'm sitting here like, oh, wow, I haven't eaten in a day. I wish I was hanging with Justin. All right, so love y'all, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.